Hello and welcome to the 12th stream for October. I'll be streaming a few times a day throughout the month of October building Jamstack Forum. Not yet decided on the name. There is an issue on GitHub. Decide on a name if you've got a suggestion on what we could call this. I'm not 100% sold on the term Jamstack Forum. But yeah, I don't know whether to call this Next Forum or GraphQL Forum or just something, really abstract, like Super Forum or whatever. So in today's stream, what I'm going to do is we're going to create today's posts page, and then we'll see what we get, and then we'll kind of move through the issues. Probably stream a few times today for a few hours, and we will create some stuff. We'll get through our issues. I've gone ahead and added more issues. If you want to head to this repo that is open, you can follow along. You can see the code and where we are at as well with that. So first, I'm going to dive into the editor here. I've pulled down main since we merged the branch on GitHub. And I'm just going to go ahead and run the development server. And then we're going to head to localhost. Head back to the home page, and this is obviously what we've been building. Let this load up. There we go. Oops. So there we have it. We've got some threads, and the threads on the index is just kind of where the latest activity is in the post. So that just kind of shows an order there. We can view things in a category, so the pin threads will appear at the top. And then the following threads will show below. And then we can obviously ask a question and reply. And what I want to do next is have a link in the header again here, somewhere in the header. We'll work on the styling later, but I feel like we want to have a link to show today's post. So I can come on, I can see what posts have been made today. I did create another issue for showing posts that are new, that have maybe been posted since I last visited. That would be quite useful as well. But I thought just a simple page on showing today's posts might be helpful. So let's dive in and let's get going with that. So let's just collapse everything. And inside of the pages directory, I'm going to copy index because it's probably the closest to what we need. And we'll make a new page called today. I'm going to paste that in, and I'm just going to have a look on the ask page and grab the H1. And we'll probably move this H1 into the layout at some point as well. But just for what we're building at the moment, why don't we just keep it simple? So we'll say today's posts. Then we're going to have thread lists, and that will just be a list of threads. And if we save this, why don't we create in the layout component a link to go to today's posts? Now it's not dependent on whether or not you're logged in. So let's just create a simple flex, and we'll do justify between for now. We could do item center as well. It's not that important, but let's just add a div here, and we'll throw a div around that one, and then we'll create a new div with a link inside, and this will be to /today. I don't know, is this still required with the new version of Next.js? I'm sure I read somewhere that's not, like, as is optional now. But we'll just add a link there. There we go. So we've got the link here to today's posts, and it's looking good. Obviously we'll style all this. We'll make it look nice when the time comes. And then when we click on today's posts, that will take us to today's posts. But obviously these aren't today's posts. We just copied the index page. So let's have a look at doing that query now. And really all we need to update on this page is the query, right? We're going to need to query get today's posts, and we'll give this query a name, and we'll probably have to pass in some variables. We'll say from, and I think if I remember rightly with Hasura, the created at is a timestamp with a time zone. Timestamp. Timestamp. I'm not sure if that is the name of the GraphQL type, but let's find out. See what it is. But anyway, we're going to need to have the type once that's loaded. So just say that's timestamp, and then we'll say it's from a certain time to a certain time, and that will again be of type timestamp. Let's check now that's loaded what the actual timestamp is. So it's threads created at. In the type is timestamp z. And that is fine. And then obviously we're going to have to, as well as order in the same way we have on the index page, we'll probably now need to do a where query. And we'll say where, we can do nested queries. So we can say where the posts created at, that's going to be, it's going to be like greater than or equal to the from, and then less than or equal to 2. I think that's the query we need. Let's just see if this indeed is a valid query. We can pop this inside of here. Did you mean timestamp tz? Yes, I did. See, this is what's so good about GraphQL, is it'll just show you what's going on. Obviously, if we were using TypeScript and we were bringing the types down from Hasura, then you could have that same experience in the editor. But for the sake of what I'm doing here, we'll not bloat things and make it more complicated than it needs to be. And I'm not entirely sure how you do that 100%. I've done it once or twice in the past, once recently with a code generator. But it was a lot of boilerplate, and for the size of this application as it stands, I don't think it's going to be that helpful. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's just me looking through a narrow lens and not looking at the big picture. But we can always add it. That's the fun part about it. We can always add it at some point. So we've got that query. That query is working. We will need to pass in. Can we? Oh, these don't have tabs. How annoying is that? Threads. I just want to get the an example created at threads. Oops, that's annoying. So let's paste this back in, and we'll do from, and we'll just say, we'll grab this one. And we'll say anything from the first to let's say the 10th or the 31st, anything in the month of October. Obviously, I'm not going to go ahead and update the times for the sake of this, but we'll run that query, and cool, we get everything that's posted. So what is the created at date of this post? Are we fetching that? We are not. So created on the 6th, though. Let's just update this to be the 6th. No, that might work. Yep. That's just gone ahead and grabbed the single post that was made between those variables. So that's cool. So let's next, we're gonna have to populate these variables now. And we'll pass them in. We'll pass them in here. So this will be from and to. What we'll probably need to do is pass those down to the page, I think. Inside of here, from and to. And then we'll get from and to here. And then we'll pass in from and to there. So this is the query that runs on the client, and that SWR library will update the page if anything has changed from what's coming from the server. If I refresh this, it's going to complain that those from and to variables aren't defined. So let's do that now. In the library we've used already is going to be, what's it going to be? It's going to be, it was date functions. We were using date functions. So let's just open up date fns. And we'll say we're going to need to do a new date and probably do something like start today. Okay, start of today. We'll use start of today, and we'll import this, and then just call start of today. And we'll need to make that an ISO string as well. So we can do that. Let's just do const today equals, const from equals new date, and that will be start of, was it day? Start of today. And then we'll do to ISO string. And we'll do the same from, and we'll change this to 2. And then I'm going to guess this is end of today. Yep, end of today. And then we'll need to import those. How were we importing those before? Like so. It's not format relative. It is start of today and end of today. Now if we go back to localhost and refresh, there we go. We've got posts that are created today. That is cool. That was not at all difficult, was it? We just updated some variables in a query. So let's go back and go in here, and we'll just reply to this thread. Hello. This should appear on today's posts page. And remember, we use a markdown, so we can make this bold and click reply. And then we can go to today's posts, and there you go. Now that brief flash was SWR taking over and updating the page, because it was kind of loading a pre-built page, and then it kind of updates, and then when you refresh now, that will have the updated content in the background, which is cool. So yeah, we've got today's posts working. We could move on to the next issue, I think. So we've created this page for today's posts. Why don't we go ahead and commit that? So we just copied pretty much everything that was on the index page, but this time we've just kind of scoped it to today. We've provided the variables in. Can these be? Are these okay here? Do we need to put them inside of there because we're passing those down? But we don't need to pass those down anymore, do we? What was I thinking? Still works. I don't know if there's anything I should be aware of there with those dates. Normally I would just kind of run them inside of here. But we'll go with it. We'll see what happens. So let's go ahead and create a branch for this. Git switch feature today's posts, and we'll just go ahead and commit everything. Today's posts page. And we'll push that. Whoops. For some reason I broke Git the other day on my machine, so normally it used to set the upstream automatically. Let's create pull request. Feature is today's post page. The body will be that it closes issue 10, was it? 11. And we'll publish that, and we'll open that pull request. So this is going to build on Vercel, and then while that is doing so, let's have a look at adding a page for answered posts. So this page should show all threads that are marked as answered. Now we've got no way to mark things as answered, so let's create an issue for that. Mark threads as answered. As a thread owner, I should be able to mark a thread as answered. Issues. Did we have one for locking posts? Lock. Handle, lock-in. What did we call the other one? Mark threads as closed. Or locked. What was it? Locked. As a thread owner, I should be able to mark threads as locked to prevent further posts. Which seems good. Yeah. So let's do, we've got created, that should be working. Let's just preview that. Go to today's posts. There we go. That's working in the preview branch on Vercel. We'll merge that because it's all looks to be good. Our invisible tests pass, which is great. And yeah, that's merged that issue. We'll go now. So we'll create the answered post page. Let's do that now. Git checkout main, git pull. Did that pull everything? Yep. Yeah, let's do git. I keep writing git checkout. Git switch feature answered posts page. I'm not sure how helpful this page is going to be. My initial idea was we can post questions, and if they're marked as answered, we can go and see questions that were recently answered. It's not really going to be used as kind of a question and answer board. At least that's not the idea. It's just a place to foster community and allow people to talk and what have you. I don't like the idea of being kind of transactional, where you use the software to just ask questions. So I don't know if answered is even worth doing. But I guess in some threads there may be, if someone just asks a question and it has been answered, then it's good just to mark it answered, so you're not getting like Stack Overflow people will just keep replying and copying the previous replies as their own, even though it's been marked as answered. So maybe we lock the thread as well automatically. Who knows? We'll come on to that when we come to issue 31. So yeah. Create answered post page. That's going to be just like the index page now. Let's copy the today post page. Create a page for answered. And oops, one thing I didn't do was update the name of that page. Today's posts page. And we'll do this is answered posts page. And we'll change this query to get answered posts. There is nothing we need to pass in on the variable, or is there? We could reuse this query. We could reuse this query because it's going to be the exact same query for the unanswered page. It's just going to be falsy, but let's not. Let's refactor all of the queries when we get to that stage. So we'll say get all threads where the answered is equal to true. That seems to make sense. Answered is equal to true, which is fine. We can get rid of this date stuff. We don't need that anymore. Everything else remains as is. One thing we don't need is answered, because we know it is. We're querying just for answered, so let's not query that. We don't need to pass in any variables anymore, so let's remove those. And we'll change the title to be answered posts. And we render that. Then inside of layout, let's go ahead and add another link. And I'm just going to create this as a flex as well. Item center. And we will add another link, and we'll call this answered. And we'll, I don't know if we will keep pages for individual answered and unanswered page posts. We may just have kind of a drop down. That might work better. So click answered posts. There isn't any posts that have been answered, so let's mark a post as answered. Let's go to our threads and let's just pick one. Let's create a new one actually. We'll say testing answered thread. This thread has been marked as answered. And we'll post that. Now there's no way for me to answer it because we haven't created that UI. So in the database, I will just do that manually. So it's this one here. Answered is true. Go back. And we got answered posts. And there we go. We got answered posts, which is cool. Nice. So let's commit that. And create a pull request. I'm going to guess this is issue 12. Let's just double check. Yeah. We'll submit that pull request. That is pending a deployment preview. It doesn't take long, just takes a few seconds. The preview is in progress. I know what will happen. We'll click on that and it will be built. And just as I was about to do it, it had built. So let's click on answered posts. And there we go. This post is obviously marked as answered. There's no UI. We'll build that a bit later. And we'll kind of, we'll probably add a little badge here that says answered. So it's a bit easier. And in the future, like I say, what we may do is include like a drop down that kind of allows you to filter between answered and unanswered. So let's very quickly, before I take a short break, let's create the unanswered page. So we'll do git checkout main, and we'll pull master down again. I don't think that's pulling. Did we? Oh, we didn't merge it. That's why. Let's merge that branch. Now, if we git pull and we run npm dev once more, we will take the answered page, duplicate it, and rename it to unanswered. And then, where is it? Unanswered. Whoop. This window. We'll change all the names of this to be get unanswered posts and we'll do that. And then lastly, we need to update the query. I'm going to say this is not equal to true. I'm not sure how Husura deals with null values. But if it's null or false, if we say it's false, then it'll not catch null. So if we say it's not equal to true, then it's gonna capture the others. So let's just double check that theory. Where answered is equal to it's only true or false, so maybe it is just true or false. I don't know if we set it to null. So the default is false. Can we update? How do we update? What am I doing wrong? There's no mutations. That's why. Update threads set answered to be. It can only be true or false. So that could just be equal to false. However, everything inside me is telling me to make this not equal to true, just to handle that edge case that it does become false. But I'm going to leave it as not equal to true, and I don't know. We can change it if it really needs to. We'll save that and head to localhost. Did we add a link to the layout? No. And then we'll add a link to unanswered posts. And these are all the posts that are pending replies. Can we do space? What is the Tailwind class for kind of space and elements out? There's a little bit of breathing room. SpaceX. We've got SpaceX2, SpaceX3. Sweet. So we've got a little bit of breathing room there. So we've got today's posts, which we've done this morning. So when we click on that, that will bring posts that create today. Answered posts, that will bring posts that are answered, marked as answered in the database. And then we have unanswered posts, which are these here. Now, I don't know how useful these, like I've said many times, I don't know how useful answered and unanswered posts are in our context. Like I say, I don't want this to be a transactional thing or think of it like this, but some people may want to use this like that. So we'll just leave that as is. And you can add or remove those links if you want those features. And then we'll switch to a feature unanswered posts page branch, and we'll commit those as unanswered posts page. And why I have to keep doing this, I don't know. My git config is set. Maybe I need to restart my machine. Then we'll do git pr create, and we'll leave the title as is, and we will say this closes 13. At least I think it's 13. I just guessed. Yes, it is. And like you say, it's tagged that pull request, so let's have a look. That preview will build. Now I know it's going to build, so I could just click squash and merge, but we'll be good. We'll be good developers. Sweet. Just wait for that to build in 1 sec. And there we have it. Click unanswered posts, and there we go. We've got our unanswered posts page. So let's squash and merge that. And back in our terminal, we'll go ahead and check out main, and we'll pull down those changes. So it's looking pretty good. We've got quite a lot of functionality going on already. I'm going to take a short break now, and I will be back, and we will start to go through the next lot of issues, which is maybe adding a like and unlike button to posts, and or maybe it's handling delete for posts as well, and we'll see what we need to do there. So I'll be back in 30 to 40 minutes, and we'll continue with these features.